Thank you for joining us today. My name is Vinnie, and this guy, David Wright. So
happy to be here. Happy to be here. Thanks again for joining the show. It's not like Saturday Night Live. It's better, but you couldn't ask for more.
Wow, Saturday Night Live, huh? That's some big shoes to fill. But anyways, what we're gonna do today, if you haven't watched our thing, it's every Monday and Friday from 4 o'clock for 10 minutes, really short and sweet. I'm going to go into the numbers real fast. David's going to go into rates. Then we're going to get into the question, and then I'm going to dive deep into the kind of the Barrio Logan Heights, Sherman Heights community, kind of give you a reference point of how that community is changing. There's a word that I use a lot, quote unquote, gentrification. Gentrification.
Man, that's a big word.
And that might be an area, if I can't tell you, but it might be an area that if you drive by today and you drove by there a year or two ago, a couple months ago, it'd be a little different. So just FYI on that. Okay. So going over the community, what's happening in the market. We're seeing now, getting pretty consistent in that 900 mark of new properties hitting the market. Now, yes, we still haven't hit that 1,000 mark, but again, June's usually when we start getting really hot on things. COVID.
Wait! You just said in June it starts getting really hot. This is amazing.
We start getting more and more inventory. Usually. Yes. Sorry for the confusion there.
Yes.
But yeah. So we're getting those numbers kind of slowly pushing up. And remember, if you've watched our market updates multiple times, you realize that these numbers do change. The reason why these numbers are changing is because agents backdate their dates of when it went on the market, when it was sold, things like that. So that's what's happening there. And then the 700 market, we're getting less and less inventory. Yes, it might be because we're not getting as much inventory as we got last year. Also, we're getting less properties in that 700 mark, right?
Isn't that amazing, Vinny? Like, had we done this a year ago, we had lots of properties under 700K, and now we're above 700 on almost everywhere you look. It's crazy.
Well, technically with the attached market, we haven't got drastic level, but if we look at where we sat last year when we were in the end of April, we were getting at 417. So we're fairly similar. But if you look at across the board, end of April to last end of April, we were at 900. Then we were at about 900. So fairly consistent where it was last year. So we'll see. Again, we need a lot more inventory to really make the change. But yeah, why don't you talk about rates? Why don't you jump into rates?
So let's jump into something here. It's called interest rates. And what can you expect this week? Well, a lot of important data this week. So what do we got? Wednesday, we have mortgage applications and ADP employment report. Why is that important to you? Because if you ever look at your pay stub, most of the time it's processed by ADP. So what is that going to tell us Wednesday? It's going to tell you how many more people are applying to buy the limited supply of housing that's already out there. So important number. And ADP employment report, that's going to show how many more people are either taking up new jobs, working more hours, working less hours. It gives you an idea of the whole employment situation. And then Thursday's a big day. Most of the time, people think Thursday's big because Friday's the next day. Not this week, though. Thursday is big because it's jobless claims this week. That's super important because as we're coming out of this pandemic, we should have less and less jobless claims. So the Thursday number is going to be a really important number for those of you who are looking to lock rates. If that number comes in bad, it's going to be a great day to lock in a mortgage. So look for that. And then Friday, Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's another huge number that the Fed looks at to go, what do we think the job market is doing? How is the labor market doing? Is it strengthening? Is it weakening? Because this directly correlates back to what the Fed's going to do on interest rates. So what do I mean by that? That means the Fed's bond buying policy is going to directly affect the rates that you get, my friend. And right now we're in an interesting environment because if the Fed all of a sudden eases its buying of bonds, rates will move up very quickly. And we've had a stabilization for, last couple of weeks, right, Vinny? Except for about a week ago, we had it drop, for a whole week, literally 37 basis points, which was huge. And a refinance window came back up again. For those of you who thought it was going to keep going to zero, it didn't. It's gone up. So right now this week, if you're looking at rates, you're still in the low threes. And I don't mean like 3.5. I mean like 2.99 is about your average. Even 2.875 is back now, which, 2 weeks ago, Vinny, we're at 3.25.
Yeah. And we were, the sky was falling, so.
Your FHA, your VA stuff is lower, down at 2.5. Some of the refinances are all going through at 2.25 on FHA and VA. Keep that in perspective. And then your jumbo financing, that's the one area where we're not really, I like to say feel the love, but there's no love from the jumbo market right now. We're not getting any warm hugs. It's kind of like a porcupine because the rates are not as good. But 3.25, 3.375 on a jumbo.
Still
amazing.
Yeah.
For all you people that locked in and been watching us for a while, if you remember when me and Vinny were going jumbo rates 2.75, unheard of.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's it, my friend. A big week for, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. Talk to your lender. If you got questions, hit up Vinny, hit up myself. But it's a big week for mortgage rates this week.
Thank you, David. And so we get so much excitement. We try to give some knowledge, questions. Sometimes it's home related. Sometimes it's Padre related. But the question we have today, what are the two main types of piping for plumbing?
Is that pipping? It looks like pipping. Pipping.
Pipping in the house.
It's good thing you didn't put pimping in there because that would have been really bad.
Well, you guys get the question text again. All right. So I talked about it briefly before about the idea of jumping into this community right here. So it's the kind of Barrio Logan, Sherman Heights community. Now closer to downtown area has kind of jumped up pretty drastically. But as you can see, right, currently active, 10 active properties, 11 pending. So, I mean, the rate the property are selling in this community aren't as drastic as in other communities. Okay. Now, 43 new properties, 29 properties. It's fairly consistent. 43 new properties, 29 sold. Again, nothing drastic. It's been good communities there. The one jump you'll see though is the jump in values from the last 2 years. So 450 on average to 548 on average. Now not a lot of properties, right, to take into factor there, and we're putting the townhomes, the condos, and the detached property in the same market. Yet that's still a good sized jump right there.
That's a great neighborhood too, Vinny, for investment. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of stuff changing in there economically, and isn't that your favorite word in that neighborhood?
Gentrified, yeah. I mean, that was. I mean, before that, there was Golden Hills was a really good community that was really making a lot of changes. But yeah, I think that community right there is. And yes, you got to mind the areas you're kind of picking and looking and driving around. I mean, a lot of different things when I tell clients, hey, this might be an area to look into, or they're telling me an area to look into. A lot of platforms to really to assess those communities and see if they're right for you. But that's an area that I want to just kind of make a focus on. And we're getting close to that 10 minutes. So thank you for guys watching. Please subscribe. Please share. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Or if you have a community you want us to dive deeper into, please feel free to reach out. Thanks, everyone.